Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. We are here for season 1, episode 4 of Lovecraft Country, you guys. I am really enjoying this series. Listen, I was not kidding when I told you guys that this show was going to be a doozy to review because there's just so much information within each episode, okay? You got to be open-minded, you got to be patient, you got to realize that a good story, you have to take your time and tell it, okay? It cannot be rushed. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started because we know we're going to be here for a second, okay? So the episode opens with Montrose, who is Tick's father, and he is drunk. I mean, he is like Saturday night, cheap hooch, moonshine, drunk. He is half naked. All he got on is a pair of pants, a pair of shorts, or something, and he's tearing the house up. He's got all the books he read and all of the information. He's got thoughts in his head. He's got, he's got bad thoughts. He's got thoughts about his past, things that were said to him. How, he's got his daddy's yelling in his head. He's got George's words, his last dying words in his head. And it is torture. Okay? Plus, he on the hooch. Okay? Y'all know that hooch will have you howling at the moon by the owner. And we see where he's got that, the Sons of Adam bylaws book, the one George found before the mansion crumbled. In episode 2, George gave him that book, right? He reading the inside cover of the book, the prologue, if you will, and reads it out loud to himself. And he done got a trash can now, but he's starting to throw stuff in the fire. You know what I'm saying? He only one. Reads the prologue of the book, throws it into the fire. I was like, why is he burning all of this information? This is stuff that Chick and Letty is looking for, and George was good. George was kind. George was smart. He was thoughtful. He was wise. He was well learned. Montrose is no idiot, but Montrose is a broken bird. He's a broken, wounded little thing. You know what I mean? Like, he got more anger in his heart than he can handle. And that anger is at the forefront of everything, right? Where he would be wise and where he would be kind, he was bitter and fighting and angry. All right? We see where Christina riding through the time, her big silver, shining, fancy car, and she bumping. So, come on, just riding, just rolling like it's freaking me 96 out these mother double, right? And bumping with Rihanna in the background. You know I love when they do period pieces, but they put present day music in it. They might have my money. Pay me what you owe me. Ooh, it's so fun. Anyway, she pulled up to Letty's house. Well, it is Letty's house. Letty's name is on the deed. But Christina is the one that gave her money to buy that house. And had the realtor set up to sell her this house, right? Okay. Now, If y'all remember correctly, last episode we had an incident with the previous owner of that home, his spirits and all the spirits of the individuals that he had killed in bloody racist rampages. Okay, uh, they had to be exorcised from the home. And when that happened, the person that she called to do the exorcism to get rid of all of the spirits in the home had put a protection spirit on the doorway. Okay, so Christina thinks she's gonna sashay on that thing, and she can't get in, because when Lily opened the door, she was like, "What the heck are you doing here?" And she was like, "Well, I just thought I would come by and see you." And she tried to walk in and said, "Zoom, zoom." That same that Tick was getting when he tried to run and help Lily and help his uncle. Yeah, it's the doorway you can't see. And she said, "Oh, you got a spell on your spell of protection. Who put a spell of protection on you? You ain't the only one. You ain't the only one that knows things, Christine. You is not the only one to know things, sis." Mm-hmm. And so Letty is tickled and Peaches. They run Peaches, Peaches punched and know that she had Christina in a hard place. See, because up until this point, Christina has acted as a savior, but she's moving real suspiciously. And Letty don't touch. She don't touch nothing about it, right? Plus everything that Christina and Grace White and her daddy, um, Samuel Grace White, and her great granddaddy, Titus Grace White, had going on is what ended up getting George dead. Mm-hmm. So we see where she wants to come in because it's something she won't do at the house. And they don't know what it is she wants. She wants Hiram's Ori, okay? And they don't know what it is, but you can't have it. Okay, so Christina let them know what an Ori is. It looked like a old timey type toy. It's metal and mechanical, and the parts are kind of moving. But basically, it is a construct of the solar system. Mm-hmm. And it's really a puzzle. It looks like a toy, but it's really a puzzle because if you move the solar system in a particular order, something's supposed to happen. What we don't know, right? But and let her tell her she can't not now, not ever. And she doesn't know where the order is now. Hippolyta took the order at the party. At the party, the kids was playing downstairs, and Hippolyta had made all the food, and she was seeing herself around the house, and she happened to come upon the order. Okay, she got the order, and she was home. She don't know what the order is, Hippolyta, but she, is a very learned individual, just like George. She's an avid reader, and she's into astronomy and all of these types of things. She's probably just going to use it to teach Diana. She's none the wiser. So later on, we get to see Hippolyta, after this exchange with Christina, we get to see Hippolyta down at George's bookstore, right? And it's burning and humming, and she on the phone with her dad. And her daddy is a learner. Now, I just want to pause here for a moment because traditionally, when we see these period pieces regarding 1950s Jim Crow era, we don't really see the layered depth of Black people. But in Lovecraft country, we are afforded the luxury of seeing our people exegete in widely and concisely and cohesively with one another. She's talking to her father, and she's trying to sort of figure out the order Um, and she doesn't really know what she's on to per se, but she's on to something, and she's gonna follow it to the end to see what it's gonna be, right? And her dad is helping her out. He knows about the solar system and astrology. He knows about the alignment of the stars. And they are just having this really in-depth conversation about astrology. It's refreshing. It's quite lovely, actually. It's quite lovely. And a guy walks up and asks her a couple of questions about it. And she said, oh, it's kind of a puzzle, and I'm not really sure how to figure it out yet. But, it'll come to you. You'll figure it out if the puzzle's out of key. Right? And then like, yeah, okay. Then we see where Lady own one, baby. She own one. Because when Christina was at her house, he told her that chick had been down there to the real estate agent and put a gun on and tried to shoot him. And they never even have a talk with him. Okay? And he knows that she gave Christina the money to buy that house. So when Christina go down to the library, she's swinging the door open all wide and walking all hard and stopping around and her looking for people. And she do that and she let him know, oh, so you keeping secrets. You went down to the real estate agent and you tried to shoot Christina and you couldn't kill her. You know about my house, but you didn't even bother to come and tell me none of that. Okay? And then further, as she starts to think about it, she said, you was on your way out of town. You was leaving after the party, remember? Huh? You was leaving. Okay, so you were going to kill her and leave and not tell me nothing. He don't know. He's focusing on these books. He's trying to figure things out. He's trying to figure out what paperwork, what are these papers, Titus's papers that Christina wants, and this Ori, like what is going on? He's trying to figure the puzzle out himself. How does everything tie together? So she's catching him pretty much in a vulnerable state. But she comes to herself and she starts talking to him about a series of things and trying to, see how she can help and how she can weigh in on it. And he's still at a place where he's poo-pooing her. So even though she, Letitia, murder booking, is, right? Okay? He wants to do it all himself. He wants to take it upon himself to do all of the things, to work it all out. He wants to take it all on his shoulders, right? She storms out and leaves, and as he goes through the library books, he pulls out. Now, back in the day, y'all don't know this, but y'all can look it all up on the internet. Back in the day, each library book had a little card in the back there. And then when you checked it out, they signed your name on it, right? And the day you were supposed to return to the library, and then it slid back down to the sleeve. He looked and pulled it up to see all the people that had checked the book out. And the last person in every book he's looking at is their people. Montrose Freeman. Okay. Okay. The one that was doing, okay, so it's a moment. Later on, he goes down to the bar where his daddy always be at, and he looking for his daddy, and his daddy in the back. He goes to the back, and who already sitting there talking to Montrose, but Letty. Okay, so Letty sit down, and Tip sit down, and they get to talking, and he's kind of questioning Montrose, like, he's realizing that Montrose has seen all the books he's looking at. What do you know? Like, share with me, talk with me. And Montrose telling him, leave this alone. Let this go. Move on from it. Okay? Because all Montrose has in his head really is George's dying words, which is take care of Tip. Now, you know George wanted to take care of Tip because he fond of Tip. He loves Tip, right? And he felt bad that he didn't be able to protect Tip from Montrose's abuse. The same abuse that Montrose suffered from their dad, right? But secretly, George always thought that Tip was his son. But Tip don't know all this. And so he's telling him and talking, and he gets to talking about, look how much trouble he's getting in with one lodger. one lodge, let alone the other 34. He said, how you know how many lodges it is? He said, I don't. That's the point. But he's caught. We're going to see throughout this episode where he keeps getting caught knowing stuff that he claims he don't know. Okay, because he's coming out real angry and real short and real curt and I don't know and I don't want to get involved. He ain't got no business messing around with this, that, and the third, but he know all of the things about it. Okay, and so Chick get pissed off and walk off. You know, he don't get nothing but pushback from his dad. He gets blocked at every turn. He can come in smooth as syrup, baby, but his daddy will block it every time, right? He ain't got nothing but venom. He ain't got nothing but venom. It ain't his choice, it's just what it is. And George talked about that in the last episode about all the joy and the love and the kindness that used to exude from him as a boy, Montrose, his be-live. Okay? And this will Tick get. Tick just gets the bite, the bitter, right? So, when Tick storms off, let it say, you really gonna let him go out there searching for all the answers that you already have. She said, y'all both real jerks. She ain't say jerk, but you know what I'm talking about. Both of y'all are hoes. Okay? That's what she said. So, when she get up and walk off, he confesses that he knows where the ball is. Okay? There's a museum that Titus is in. I guess it's Titus's museum, or it's a museum that sort of houses all of Titus' great right, who was supposed to be this famed explorer, all of his artifacts and stuff from his trips all over the world, all over the globe, right? And so he knows that all of the artifacts are in this museum. And so the next day we see Letty and Tick packing up Woody. It's so much sexual tension between the two of them, Charles. And somehow, when down through the Woody belonged to George, now of course he belonged to George and Hippolyta, and now the George is gone, Hippolyta is in charge of the Woody. So they packing it up and Tick, and he's just gonna drive all over the Woody and leave Hippolyta and Diana behind. And see, Hippolyta's home to all of them. She knows something is afoot. She knows that something is amiss. She knows it's more to George's death than what they're telling her. And she's going. And she's doing it like a little songbird. She's just as sweet and polite and got Diana tucked up just as nice. And every time they look away from her, she do this. Yeah, I'm on to y'all. I'm on to y'all, okay? And while you're running around here trying to have your seat, okay? Okay? Hippolyta knows some things too. Hippolyta is hip to some things too, okay? Then we see old Tree Child as they pulling off. He trying to go up and see a girl, and he won't let me drive him halfway. Now, it don't seem like Tree serves the purpose, but he does serve the purpose. He's the crab at the bottom of the barrel, and when you get at the top rung of the barrel, he pulls your ankle and snatches you back down in there. That's the purpose that Tree serves in our lives, okay? Just remember that, you guys. Just remember that. Okay? So they load up and they head on off down the road to the museum. Now, Hippolyta is also excited because she loves the museum. And she is excited about showing Diana the museum and all of the different exhibits and them just having a very old time. Okay, so then we see what Christina is outside playing with some kids trying to be seen. She wants the lodge that's in this town in Chicago. She wants them to know that she's there. Okay, she wants to make her presence known. Now, mind you, Christina is a female. Females cannot be a part of the lodges. Women are not accepted into the lodges, right? And so the lodge is run by the policemen in this town, and so she They pull up while she out there playing with the kids, and they want to know why she there, and she want to know why they there. You know, they don't want her there because they think she's there to take their lives. See, now they want the papers too. Okay, Titus's papers too, because Titus's papers hold the key to immortality, but also I think it's a guide uh, to how to navigate the order as well. Okay. All right. If I'm wrong, y'all put it down below. All right. So you know, this I just want to say this really quick. You know, in this episode and further episodes, you know, I think we're going to continue to see things get a lot more weird. Even though episode one was pretty weird, and episode two was definitely pretty weird, you know what I mean? Because it's a mix of genres. But the story here that's being told is that on a base level, we are all human. And there's different levels of oppression depending on what color your skin is, or if you're an immigrant, uh, these types of things, or indigenous, for example. And this idea of superiority that Caucasians have is not because they're special. It's because they have rigged the system. It is because they are working uh, in a on a level of black magic, so to speak. And that's what I mean by rigging the system. They are using dark arts. They are um, operating in wizardry and witchcraft as a means to rig the system. So, or just on the face of it, not really knowing all of the background stuff that's going on, you may think, oh, it's just about their skin tone. But the story is being told in a way where you realize, which we've always known, but it's being told in a way where we are acutely aware, or just how big the system is put in this really tangible way. You know, I hope that makes sense. Because we are going to see how this lodge begins to move. Now, they're police officers, so you know they can come and go and do however or whatever they want to. Well, they scoop Christina up and take her back to the lodge, and when she get in there, he don't know why she in there. And it doesn't matter that she is Sandra Drake White's daughter. He calls her out of her name. He calls her a female Tuesday. See, because she's not black. She's one of them blonde. You know what I'm saying? Like one of them Swedish Nordic blondes, right? But she one step down from being black, which is female. Listen, oppression is gonna always be there. Oppression is gonna always be there. If she wasn't a woman but still white, it would be classic. You get what I'm saying? You know, it's gonna always be there. We need to oppress and to sort of rule over is always going to be present. All right. So we get down to the museum, and Montrose has got a plug down at the museum, and he knows the plug from, I think he said down in the bar, or he got a plug from down in the bar, but Montrose got a plug, okay, at the museum. And he gonna let them in the museum after dark. He got it all set up in the meantime before they get a chance to get the museum off of their stuff. They got to at least find out where the bar is located, so when they get let in, they go right to it, right? Now, Tree is with them in the wheelchair, and he is hitting on Letty, trying to come on the Letty. And y'all know Letty's not about that. She's Letty know the person. Okay? And she shut him all the way down. So she let him know that she knows that he told Quick that they slept together in high school with the dad very alive. He goes to Tig, Tree goes to Tig, and instead of you going on about your business because you didn't found out it was a lie, you decided you were going to take Tig and the Peg all the same. Okay, you're going to put Tig's wings a little bit and throw out these thin windows that his daddy is dead. Okay? And Tig, first Tig thought he was calling him dead. I ain't going to listen. This is Tig. And he said, not you, but maybe your daddy might know a couple. Okay. And Chick dismisses it. Oh, he put a pin in it, but he dismisses it because he don't want to get treatment. Okay. The Tree. Don't come around here no more. Don't about your business, Tree. Don't about your business. We don't need no monkey wrenches. Okay. I plan, don't need no monkey wrenches. And you got monkey wrench written all over it. Mm-hmm. You got monkey wrench written all over it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so um, we get to see Hippolyta. Hippolyta and Diana are in the Star Room, right? Basically. It's old school museum. They got pallets all over the floor where you lay down and you look up this huge dome. And on the dome, it is past the star, yeah, the solar system, you know, with all of the stars and, you know, the alignment of the stars. And so it's like laying in your backyard and you get a clear, crisp summer night where there's no clouds and you can see the stars with you. As children, we used to lay down, you look for the big dipper, and the little dipper, and Orion's ladder, just all these types of things. So this is what they're doing inside the museum, this simulation. We discovered that there's a star system that Hippolyta points out to Diana, and it's called Paris Chariot. And she said she named that star system. And she said, well, I didn't know that. I have no idea, Mom. You never told me that. She said, well, it's not in the books anywhere. She said, in the books, it is named, they have this other person's name. Turns out it was Swedish, the young girl from Sweden. Okay? Now, what happened was, it was a magazine, had a contest in it, the name of the star that was discovered, right? And so she named the star, and they picked the name, but because she was a black girl, they decided to take the name, but instead of giving her credit, they gave her this black girl from Sweden credit. And if it wasn't known that Diana really was, you know, Diana's like, that's not fair. And Hippolyta tells her, she says, I know, but listen, we know, and that's all that matters. It isn't all that matters, but it's how we had to settle for things. It's how we had to compartmentalize things. And I dare say to this day, we're still doing it. We're just compartmentalizing because we know otherwise it's like hollering into the wind, like no one's going to hear it. It doesn't matter how much you pick up the personal behavior and it's not going to move anything. You know. And Diana makes up her mind. She said, somebody gonna know. She said, what? Harris? Oh, it was such a good moment. And my mama named that sister. You better do it, girl. You better do it. Okay? It's a really, really good moment. Now, this. We see Christina pull up to the mansion in dark. Okay? Back in Chicago. You see Christina pull up to the mansion. And she gets out of the car and she goes in. Okay? And then we see it on the other side of the mansion coming down the driveway to William. He walks right up to the car that had been following Christina all this time. Okay? Basically following her from the police station. Yeah. And so as he walked up, they go to get out, and he kicks the door. Okay. And when he kicked that door, the man went back inside that car, and the other one had walked around, and he had run, and he whacked that young man, flipped him, and knocked him in the car, and knocked him out. And the other one, he took him up, he said, you tell your boss that Christina Brent White does not like to be the father. Rolling down, ties up his cup when his baby walks up. He ain't hurt. His hair had moved, yeah. Okay. So I said, oh, really is about business. Okay, so later after dark, everybody is there. Billy and Montrose and Tick at the meeting. Tick, while their night was there, and they was in the meeting, he found what he thought was the entrance to the vault. This huge structure, sculpture, and it had writings on it, and, inscriptions and whatnot. Here in the garden, they got their flashlights on and everything. Montrose, he's the legend, if you will. Okay, now, a lot of y'all don't know, y'all too young to know, but a legend is like the key to guide you along your way. So let's say you were reading a map, and along that map you were to come along and see a fish. And you would go down to the legend and you would see fish and what fish represented. Like this represents place, right? That's what a legend is. In this journey to find these papers, when you do the trap vault of Titus, Montrose is our legend because Montrose has read all the books. Montrose has the binder of information, the book, and all of this information. Montrose been studying this for a while. Remember, Montrose was initially kidnapped by the Great White in order to get Tick to look for him and come so that they can get what they needed from Tick, which was really his blood. Okay, Montrose is going to be our legend. And Betty has got the tenacity. Betty is our engine, if you will. So Montrose is our legend, Letty is our engine, and that would make Tick more of our, I would say Tick is our navigator. And the reason I say that is because Tick is familiar with the other Lovecraft novels. He's quite obsessed with them as a child and still reads them now that he's an adult male. And so he is familiar with a lot of the lingo. He's familiar with the references. Outside of that being schooled by George, he knows a lot of historical information, Greek mythology, and paleontology. Like he knows a little bit about a lot of things, right? So he's our navigator. Being well read is key here. And Tick, like George, is very well read. So is Montrose, okay? But Montrose has the key, but he doesn't even really know what the key goes to per se until he hears from the navigator, until the navigator sort of triggers things with references. I hope this all makes sense, right? All right. So Montrose told him to turn off his flashlight. When they turn off the flashlight, moonlight from a window. We've seen this before, like you watched my episode 2. We've seen this before. A round light at the very, very top of the room cast down a little moonlight, and then that moonlight ricochets off of something on the statue and beams over here, and then beams over there, and bounces back. And Letty goes and leaves a little piece in there, and when that moonlight goes into the statue, it moves and opens up and there's a hole. Well, listen, Tick ready. Okay, Tick ready. He knew it was a vault. He knew the vault was Booby Trap because Christina told him in the real estate office, right? Oh, he got a rope, he got a backpack, little things that you might need along the way when you're going into a movie trap type of situation, right? hmm And so he lowers himself down and he sees there's a series of huge tunnels. Now we underneath the museum, okay? He sees a series of huge tunnels, okay? But he don't know which way to go. And so Mary and Montrose up top, he yelling down into the hole, all right? And so he said he don't know which way to go. He don't need Titus's map. And Lily was like, oh, you need a map? I got your map. And she goes over to an exhibit that is glassed in, and it's got a map there. It seems useless. It looked like a map he might have used, on one of his adventures somewhere. They got it posted up like this artifact, right? And she goes, what's that glass? My mom didn't want to do it. He told his friends that they weren't going to break nothing. But listen, push it, come and shove. She whack it. Bust that glass out like she did in the cop car. Anyway, pulls it off the wall and throws it down, ties the rope around herself and lowers herself down. And keep trying to stop her. No, 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 no. I need to figure this out first. And she's like, honey bone, we all in this together. She lowers herself and get down there. And Montrose is not going to be left behind, okay, because he's got George in his head telling him to look out for Tig, right? And so he lowers himself down too. And they talk and they sort of kind of figure out what to do, okay? And all along we see where all the sense is not in one head. And like I said, Letty brings a certain type of tenacity. Uh, Montrose is our legend, and Tick is our navigator. So after talking, they realize when everybody sort of puts their knowledge in the pool, which direction they need to head to, which tunnel they need to go down. And so Letty was like, let's go, please, let's do this. I was like, Letty, you gonna gather these boys and get them all together. Okay, so Ruby is back at home. Okay, and baby, early on we got a chance to see Ruby walk into the department store. It's been her dream to work in the department store, and she's gone and she's taking classes and she's really studying really hard. And she, so when I tell you she's in the next store and she was dressed like Ruby Money. First of all, Ruby is a brick house, okay? Y'all don't know, but you hear songs like, see that brick? Ow! She's mighty, let me all hang out here. Ruby is a brick house, baby. She got a head, ooh, stiff chapeau, baby. She got it. She looks good, okay? She walking the store and she's rich. They put an advertisement out for a new salesperson. She did. She did everything to prepare for this position, and she was going to get this job. She walks in there, and it's a black girl already in there working. And so she got pride. She's shopping. And the lady said, can I help you? She said, no. She said, you shop here all the time? She said, no. We said, no. She said, you've been working here all along. She said, no, I just got this job yesterday. And I just applied on the women really. And it was Ruby, when I tell you that crush Ruby spirit and crush her spirit, that's all she wanted was that job. And she realized that they got one black girl, they didn't have anything. Okay. So while taking over down in the museum, we see her half drunk bird down at the jig joint, with her sequins dress on and flower in her hair, singing for pennies, child. She just hurt, her feelings hurt, and she back to doing what she didn't want to do, which working in the jig joint and for a bunch of drunks, singing for a bunch of drunks. So she goes to the bar and she tell the bar, she said, I can't afford another one. I'm affording another drink. And the bartender tells her, now this is the same bar that Tick and his daddy was at earlier. He tells her, this ain't from me, this from old Blue Eyes down in the bar. Guess who it is? Willie. You know, white folks can go anywhere they want to. Now, black men sitting in the box with all white back in that day wouldn't happen. But the white man can go anywhere he wants to. Now, he in an old black establishment, child, sitting there like he belongs there, like it's his boss. Okay, he sashayed down to it, and she, of course, is suspicious of him. She think he got a fetish for dog girls, you know, well, the dog meat, you know, is the cool way to say it. She thinks that, uh, you know, he trying to buy and sell and keep her and that type of thing. And, you know, he's assuring her no. He just won't buy her a drink. He just won't talk a little bit. Of course, she gets drunk, you know, buzzed, and she's, you know, he's a listening ear. That's how they usually end, child. When you say, "Oh, not talking too much," they be like, "No, no, give me more," because they collecting data. Uh-huh. That's what they're doing. They collecting data, and I ain't just talking about white men. I'm talking about all men. Okay. Anyway, so she talking about her, the department store job, 103 people, and the already got one black girl they showed them in her live too. And she just talking about her things. It just pisses her off. It pisses her off because you gotta work twice as hard. Okay, this time I work. You gotta look a certain way. You gotta carry yourself a certain way. You gotta have a certain amount of education. I've done all of these things. I've done all of these things. And still I can't get a little up because this end man is like a weight around my damn burning neck. So he leans over and talks to his sweetheart. He understands and he is, uh, you know, sympathetic. And she said, "Oh, you trying to be a lady." He's like, "Oh, no. I'm not trying to lay with you. They ain't got to do all that. You don't have to do me now." Mm-mm. Next thing you know, they back there knocking over stuff, panting, sweating, grunting, getting out of their clothes. And she done knocked something over off the table and put her hand. He looked down at it and looked at her and looked at that blood and looked at her. Not liquid, but you know, the passion. How chill. I said, ooh. One thing for him to want to be inside of you, sis, but he wants you inside of him. Now, this is suspicious. Mm-hmm. They had the mansion where Christina walked in on one side and William came on the other. They had that mansion. They had Christina's house, right? William, I think, he met the love with Ruby in Christina's house. I guess he ain't Christina's boyfriend. That or they don't tell. Anywho, so you get to see that they get to it, they get to the business. So I said, you better go and do it, then. You just go and do it. Back down to meet these men. And you know, they're at a bit of an impasse. They come to this, it's very Raiders of the Lost Ark, if you can picture that. They are underneath the museum, and it's huge, cavernous area down underneath this museum. And so they come to a huge opening on one side, okay? And then there's pitch black darkness, nothing. Even if you do light down in it, that darkness will show that light right there. I mean, it from the echo sounds like a vast cavern, right? Except there's this law. And Letty's working around in here, and so is Tiki. She's like, I think if I go here and go across, and just be careful and roll it down and stay focused. It don't matter if she look down, child, she won't see nothing but blackness with utter and complete darkness. If this ain't a metaphor for life, okay? And she's nervous and she's scared, but this ain't the first time. Y'all know in episode 1, Letty is the one that outran the monsters to get to the wood, to bring back to the cabin to save Tyler and Tick and George. Mm-hmm. So she gonna go first. He gonna tie off and knock it. She said, "You sure it's not gonna hold?" And he said, "Yes, it's not gonna hold." And she said, "What kind of knowledge is? Did you learn how to tie this in the army?" And he said, "No, I did not learn how to tie this in the army." And Montrose jumped in. Okay, Marshall said he learned it from his dad. Mm-hmm. And I learned it from my dad. He learned it from his daddy. He learned it from his daddy's 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 daddy. Okay, he said back in the day. He told you the story about the slave. He was in charge of tying up a horse, and if a horse got loose, he would get lashes. And he, at the end of his stint of his plantation as a slave, he learned there was no lashes because he had invented this special type of knife that does not give way. Okay, is a lie. Tip knows that it's a lie because his family was never slaves. Their name was Freeman. Freeman. Okay, so but it was a story to empower her. It was a story to reassure her, to calm her, to center her. Okay, here's a moment. Here is a moment. It's a moment because we get a chance to see a softer Montrose. And as we go on, we're going to see Montrose kind of softening, right? It was a good thing that he did to tell her the story. So she hears on that. She gets on there, she walks across this leg, and it's probably like 2 feet. You can get your 2 feet on this leg. Just a little bit outside of it. She walks, and as she walks, she sort of disappears. Huh? And so she screams at him. Okay? And she is frightened. Oh, he's scared, child. Scared. You got to go tied around him too, and he gets started. I'm coming. Say back, I'm coming. He goes out. He disappears into the darkness, and we see him above, shot, looking down at both of them. She kind of get down, and he's approaching, and she said, "It's something here. There's something flying around in here." And what we see is it's a pendulum blade. Baby, it ain't moving that fast, baby. When I tell you, when it's moving, we can see ladies' hair here. Baby, these blades catch you, you going for a ride, baby. And when you get off the ride, you gonna be with you. Mm-hmm. So he said it ain't moving that fast, we just got the time. She was ticking out that right? So he got let it down, he said, he counted out, go! And she walks on up a little hill. And then Ted, he's standing there, he waiting for his mama. Back on the other side, we see Montrose. And Montrose is down, he noticed that the log is disintegrating. Okay? It's disintegrating away from him, which means it is eating away, disintegrating in the direction of where it's hitting lower, right? And he hollers, y'all got to hold y'all boots because the log is disappearing. And Tick said, wait a minute, he runs back to get his daddy, and he meets that disintegrating log just falling apart, eating his way towards him. And he tells daddy, you got to jump. And Montrose said, boy, you best to catch him. Okay? And he goes, and he runs, and he jumps, and Tick catches him. He also has a bag that he got with him. He throws at Tick. Told me the bag. I was like, Lord, y'all trying to do a lot on me. He said, no, baby. That bag, gone. He said, boy, don't let me end up like that bag. You best to catch me, right? He runs and he jumps. And Tick, yes. I said, oh, Tick, he's so big. And so anywho, they go on up and they get to the Tick makes it through. And then Montrose makes it through. They get to the end, boy, that log was eating away, They can just run into the bit. The log leads to a wall, and that wall is a puzzle. But they don't know which one to push to get in the log is being eaten up. And there's this perilous music playing. And Montrose is screaming, bloody is screaming. She don't know which one. She's hollering out the symbols on each one of the squares. And he realizes that the key to get through this wall is the prologue, the information, the little blurb that he did in the prologue of the Food of Adam dialogue. Okay, about Adam and Eve. Ooh, child. So he reads it out. He reads it out as he read it. You know, and point by point, Tip pushes the pictures and the wall opens up. And they leap inside just in time for the log to be completely disintegrated. Now they're going forward, but they can't go back. Okay? Ain't no way to go back. All right? And so once they get inside, it's tense, baby. It is tense, tense, tense. Because that was a moment. That was an epic moment, you know, where Ticket is on edge. He's on edge, I think, because Tick is a very responsible individual. He has feelings for Lady. Obviously, he loves his dad, even though his dad has treated him so bad. And like I said, every chance he gets, all he gives him is foul, bitterness, and bark. But he feels responsible because at the end of the day, that's still his dad, right? So, Letty tries to, you know, kind of give Tick a little bit of comfort and check on him because he believes, you know, and he don't want to be touched. He don't want to be bothered. I got it. Ooh, child. I cut him some slack, sis. Cut him some slack now because y'all almost fell into the abyss. We didn't go on into the caverns even further, right? It's really like a maze almost there. They're winding through and it's water. It's water everywhere. And Montrose says he thinks that the water is rising a little bit. And Sid references something that he read before about moonset. So in other words, at the set of the moon, the the tide comes in. So these caverns are gonna be filling up with water, basically. And Tick is feeling even more pressure. He is pushing through this cavern. He is walking, and he's really kind of leaving Daddy and leaving his dad. And, you know, his daddy yells out, "This doesn't teach me an honor to leave a man behind." And when Tick came back with that flash over his daddy's face, his daddy standing there with a lantern. He all cold because all he got him was a muscle shirt. And he said, "I ain't never left a man behind, never in my life." And he said, you got me, man. He said, "You know what? They were friends. Okay? You could trust." And then was like, "What the heck is that supposed to mean? How you know so much, Daddy? How you know so much about this? How we get in and out of this act? How you know about the museum?" Okay? Now, he's suspicious. He's suspicious. Okay? But also, he's suspicious. Because Tree done put a bug in his ear. So he's looking at his daddy sideways for a lot of different reasons. One, you got information you ain't really getting. And two, you got some information maybe perhaps you ain't told me. It's different. It's different. It's different. And so they get the argument first and Letty just over it. She don't have time. And she walking on through the water. Now this kind of water is kind of it's high. Letty is shorter than Montrose. Montrose is just shorter than the kid. And so it's a breast line. It's at Tick's waistline. And Montrose is up his chest plate as well. Yeah. So she making her way, she didn't have time for all this back and forth figuring and all this stuff. She kind of making her way on through. And she gets surprised by a body. Now, when she was surprised by his body, she recognized his body as one of her neighbors. Now, y'all remember her neighbors as the ones that was trying to run them out of their house. Okay, well, a couple of them disappeared, you know, after they had the exorcism. And at the end of that episode, we saw where the elevator went down to a secret floor. Okay? So the elevator goes up the floors in the house and then the ground floor. Well, we see where the elevator leaves the ground floor and goes down to the cavernous cellar, and down in this cavernous tunnel, all we see is bodies and lights. And then remember the tunnel lit up, and everybody as far as you could see, right? Why is his body floating in a museum in another city, miles away from where they live? That means that whatever is underneath everything, not just the museum. The cavern that they're in is underneath Larry's house too. They walked throughout these caverns trying to find their way, trying to find their vault, and have come upon a tunnel that leads to Larry's house. Hey, the garden, they run over and see that when she's screaming at, she said she thinks it's one of their neighbors. They walk on another cover, and when they walk on another cover, they come to the elevator. Well, Ted wants them Montrose to get on this elevator. Get on this elevator and go on up to your house, Letty, and that's gonna be safe. And I'm okay. You know, and she said, no, we in this together. Oh no, this guy, no, she let me know this. Mm-hmm. This ain't all about you. You ain't the only one who's thinking this. I died, and the daddy was killed. Okay? This ain't just about you. You ain't the only one who's thinking this. You ain't the only one who suffer. Now, gather yourself, sir. Quit trying to boss me around and tell me what to do. We doing this thing together. And they have to do it together because they all do a different piece, right? And so they go on, and by the time they go on and walk past the elevator, now the water is up to Letty's neck, okay? And it's up here on the tip. And his daddy is up, child. This water is rising fast, okay? So we get to this wall, and everything, the top part of the wall is in the water. So we see this arm, the joint of, just the arm and up to the joint. Okay, up to the side is there. And somebody tried to get in, and the arm got locked. And they had to leave the arm behind. Okay, Tick found a way to pull that arm out. He pulled that arm out. It's got a ring on his hand. They don't know. They don't know what's going on. Well, Tick put his ring on. You know, they gave him a ring and they was doing their ritual down there in episode 2. He put his ring on. See, now that hand had a ring. So that ring is for large men. There was another large member down there trying to find these papers. And they wasn't successful, right? But Tick put his ring on and put that ring hand into that same hole that they done pulled the arm out of. And it locked down on Love. And they started pulling on his arm, trying to get around. He said, no, wait. Because it fixed. Whatever he inside of it fixed. And then he said, Lord, take me over. And that blood goes up through. And we see the man go looking at all behind the side. And Tick's blood is going in, and he's getting putting holes in and all of this stuff, and the DNA. Oh, he's on fire. Oh, yeah. Okay, it ain't the ring. It's the blood. That's what it was. Whoever found that way, they made it there, okay? But they didn't have blood. The blood is the key. Ooh. You hear what I say? I say the blood is the key. Are you there? Is this thing on? Okay, so listen. It opens up and they go inside. They are now inside with them. And the dog is covered in firewood and candlelight, so I don't know how, but it was okay. And so in the whole dinner table set child with the bodies of the people that came to dinner still at the dinner table and the plates of food and the glasses and something happened. Like something happened in a flash, right there in the middle of them, everybody was both dead, right? And they walked up and there was a death stand. And at that death, uh, they see an old mummified body. And that mummified body got swollen and heavy, right? And so they will reach for the scroll, and when they reach for the scroll, that body reanimated their flesh, blood, sinew, bones, arteries, chapters come back. And it's just standing. And when I come in, I said, hey, is that a man or woman? But you know, to be Native American, Native American men go the hell on like me. But I saw muscular figures, musculated people. So what's happening here? Well, the man got settled on a woman, got settled. Okay, I saw the breast on him. I said, so no, Judge, huh? And the woman got symbols all over her body and her face and things. Looked like a future or little baby or all the women that got her, in the basement. Child, but these are symbols. Okay, these are symbols. These ain't ice cream cones, the naked women. Child, these are symbols. Okay. And I didn't finish going, and I see a little king there. What's a little king with his face tired, and the full kind of little king. I said, what is happening here? He said, listen, this is what I said. This piece of this individual is here. You don't know what it is yet. Children is both male and female. I said, what the devil is happening here? Child, I was on the edge of my seat, and I told you I don't even know what's happening here. Okay, and then, well, I tell you, a hair stood up in the back of my neck. The thing started talking. And I said, oh, like, like tongues. It's another language, but to me, it sounded like tongues. I said, here, Jesus? What's happening, Lord? Child, the individual got the talking, and it turns out, according to the closed caption, the individual was talking in a language called Aura. Aura. Ooh, it sounded like tongues to me. And I ain't talking about that she came behind the play tongues. I'm talking about bone tie, knocked down, dragged out, steeped in Holy Ghost tongues. Like he said. Okay? And so, he understand the language. He don't know that he know it. What he know it? It's in his bloodline. The knowledge of what, the knowledge that he needs is inside of him already. He's just got to access it. He would have never known that he needs things if he hadn't come to this place where he's this woman whose name is Yakima Marakoti. Yakima Marakoti. And she looks native. If y'all ever seen my apocalypto, she looks like she could be an apocalypto. Now, we don't know what gender Yakima identifies with. But when I call her female, right? So, his name is about her story, where Titus came to where her people are. The indigenous, and heard their language and saw the symbols on their body and realized that she knew what the symbols were. And he wanted her to decipher the symbols and the writing on these scrolls, on these papers, right? And he told her, he took her. He came over with his ship, just like they do in Africa, and wooed her and told her if she would read all of this stuff and do all of this, he would return her. He would bring her back to her people. Okay. And so he did it. She did it. She read them and deciphered them for him as much as she could. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He returned her to her people. He slaughtered all of her people and her essentially too, but she's in a in between place, okay? Because he still needed her to decipher the writings, okay? She's technically dead, but she is alive only for the purpose of reading the scrolls, right? And only for the purpose of reading the scrolls, writing for Titus. Well, Titus is no more, but what he set upon her was a curse. Okay? We don't know yet what the curse is, but we didn't. Okay, so um, Tick pleased with him. He said, listen, I am blood. Titus is blood, but not his family. Not his family. There's a difference. Okay. He needed to let her know he's of the bloodline. But he ain't with them people, and all they do is fear. Me and you gonna be so steady. You can trust me. I need you to read these paperwork for me and give me the information. And she said, listen, I have no doubt that you may or may not be a good person. She said, but I don't know your spirit, and I will not leave it. And Montrose is mad. Montrose said, get the tables and let's get them out of here. Montrose is frightened. He is afraid. He knows a lot, but it's a lot he don't know. And he don't know how or why, but he's feeling anxious and afraid. And he feels like he can't really protect Tick here because he's so frightened himself. He reaches up and pulls the papers off the desk, the scroll off the desk, and he ain't bloodline. Tick is bloodline. Okay? I think if Tick had pulled the scroll off the desk, I don't think what happened next would have happened next, which is the room, the vault that would begin to crumble around it. Glass is beginning to break. It's water outside now. The glass is going to break, and this vault is going to fill up with water. Tick gathers up Yahima and gathers up Letty, and then they break their job. They head back out of that vault and through that water, they swimming and swimming and swimming and trying to get back to the elevator bar because the elevator gonna take them right on upstairs and into the lady's house, right? And they swimming and swimming in the water, and Chip gets everybody in the elevator, and just as he gets in, he loses the scroll, the paper, what they have worked so hard for all night long. And Lily is not going to let it go. He don't want Lily to jump back in that water. He don't want Lily to leave that elevator. He don't want Lily to be safe, to be hurt, to be killed. The same fears that Montrose has for Tick, Tick has for Lily. Okay? They all are carrying a measure of responsibility, personal responsibility for each other, for the end goal, for the culture, for the community, for their people, for it's a lot of weight on each one. She swam down there, swim, okay, down into the abyss and grabbed them that scroll full of papers and swim back up and get inside for that elevator. But when I tell you, Tick is so happy to see her, so happy that she was in the elevator and that she was alive and that she was able to grab them doggone papers, baby. He chipped her up. Now see, we got a chance to see early on a little bit more of the softness of the kinder side of Montrose after Letty had given him a good cussing out about the fact that he wasn't in this by himself. And Montrose said, you should go out there and you should talk to her and take it like she knew what went on here. I think you need. You tell him a story about what his grandfather told him. He always have a song, a love song to sing that reference your world. That way when she's fussing, she's going, now I need to sing that song to yourself. By the time you're done, at the end of that time, it'll all be over. Oh my God. Anyway, so it's a moment in the elevator. And soon as the elevator starts to rise and Yahima goes to say something, it is a piercing scream. Like the chick hadn't hauled off and knocked her out. Their ears were good. Their brains were good. It was a piercing scream. And so when they do get upstairs and get back to their house and they're in their room, they got uh, Yahima there sitting down, drying off in the room, and Tip comes out of the room. He learns that he says that he thinks that Iris put a spell on Yahima. Basically, he made her a silent so that if she was ever outside the vault, she could never talk or speak and decipher the writing on the scroll for anyone at the beginning. Tick want to teach her English. Tick determined. He ain't dismayed. He want to teach her English. She might not be able to speak, but she can write. Okay. Now, we're going to get back to this, but let's take a second and meet up with Hippolyta and Diana. Hippolyta and Diana on their way back to Chicago. And Diana didn't know how he was taking them to get back. And Hippolyta said she don't know. I tell y'all, Hippolyta is saying, baby, she had fish to eat. Okay? Here's something else going on that she don't know what's happening. She's looking over at Diana and she's noticed that Diana got an atlas. And she said, where'd you get that from? And Diana was like, well, she said, where did you get that from, by the way, Diana? She on one. Diana said, I got it from the glove box. She pulled over. Mama! She pulled over and grabbed it and looked. Listen, this George is famous. You know, he mapped out the trip to Ireland before they left. It's the same atlas that Diana drew all the pictures of the different towns. She put picture symbols on it. Okay? And the picture of the preachers that Diana drew is there, and she sees where the scroll markings is Ireland. Baby, Hippolyta grabbed that steering wheel and turned that car around. And Diana said, Mama, where are we going? She said, to get us. Let it. And took and head out to get some more information. They leave Montrose there with Yahima. Look out for Yahima, he'll be back. Montrose walks up to Yahima and looks at her lovingly. He's not offended by the fact that she's a hermaphrodite. He's not aghast. He's not, feeling some type of lecherous way. She's a beautiful woman. He walks around behind her, and I thought he was going to comfort her because, like I said, he didn't have this abhorrence to who she was or how she looked. Beautiful woman, but she is covered in symbols. She's an ancient creature, right? She's from many moons ago, technically. He walks up behind her and kneels down and says to her, I'm sorry. And her head cocks half a bit, and just like that, he slits her throat. And the episode goes on. Cinnamon, wait on me. What's the name? I said, what the heck is going on here? Y'all, that is episode 4, Lovecraft Country, season 1. Okay? A history of violence. All throughout this episode, we see where violence was 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 pushing um, Montrose. Montrose had a very violent past. Okay, Montrose, although he spent the entire episode barking and fussing at, or barking and giving bitterness to Tick, which represented his history of violence against Tick. We saw him kind of trying to chip away with it little by little, trying to show kindness, trying to reveal or release that loving kind side George said he once had. We see where there is this aggression and this violence from the male perspective towards the female perspective as it relates to Christina and the lives, the boys and the lives. Y'all tell me what else you saw here in terms of the history of violence. Certainly what Titus did to Yahoo and her people. Certainly the construct of that vault and all of its booby traps represents individuals whose immortality and the very setup of that cavernous vault underneath it was built in violence, was built to exact violence on anyone who would come to steal his treasure. Bodies floating, violence. The arm in the wall, violence. The scream, the penetrating scream of Yahima the siren in the elevator, violence. And definitely what Montrose did there was violence. Okay, you guys, that's all I've got for you. Y'all tell me what you think of this episode. Put it down below. And until next time, babies, I holla.